This is Part 2, Episode 104. The jade green flame swiftly rushed out and collided with the strange black flame on Feng Qing'er's body. Both parties engaged in an intense exchange, but the black flame hurriedly shrank back into her body while looking as though it had met with a great enemy in front of Feng Qing'er's shocked eyes. The heavenly flames reigned supreme among the tens of thousands of flames in the world. Moreover, Xiao Yan's glazed lotus heart flame was formed from the merger of two types of heavenly flames. If one were to rank it, it was likely not difficult for it to enter the top 10. Although Feng Qing'er's black flame was a little unique, it was still unable to gain any advantage in front of Xiao Yan's glazed lotus heart flame. Do you really think that I don't dare to kill you? Xiao Yan's face turned cold and indifferent after having suppressed the black flame on Feng Qing'er's body. However, his expression changed abruptly before his words sounded. He saw the storage ring on his hand trembling suddenly as a jade bottle appeared without any forewarning. The green-red blood within the jade bottle emitted a majestic energy fluctuation. The sudden unexpected change caused many people to be stunned. Xiao Yan was the first to recover. With a wave of his hand, his jade green flame wrapped around the jade bottle. After which, he stored it in his storage ring in a lightning-like manner. Xiao Yan's reaction was extremely quick. Many people did not even clearly see just what had happened. Even Lei Zunja and the others in the VIP seats only sensed a powerful energy ripple appearing before it swiftly vanished. Xiao Yan's expression became exceptionally dark and solemn after having returned the jade bottle into his storage ring. He swiftly took 2 steps back after discovering that the green-red blood felt an uncontrollable impulse as long as it was beside this woman. It was likely due to them both being heaven demon phoenixes. Looks like I will need to find a time to settle this blood, this thought flashed through Xiao Yan's heart as he raised his eyes. However, he saw that Feng Qing'er's eyes were emitting an unusual heated glow at this moment. Xiao Yan's heart sank further when he saw this scene. He vaguely sensed that something was wrong. Feng Qing'er's pretty eyes stared at Xiao Yan's storage ring. Xiao Yan's reaction earlier was too quick. Hence, even she did not see just what that thing was. Although she did not clearly see it, she was able to clearly sense that the blood within her body had started boiling when that thing appeared. An extremely intense suction force surged within her heart. This kind of feeling, Feng Qing'er descended deep into thought. Her tongue gently licked her red lips. This scene was indeed filled with an endless amount of doubt. This deep thought continued for a moment before her lovely body abruptly trembled. Both of her eyes gradually revealed shock, ancient phoenix essence blood. Feng Qing'er slowly raised her eyes and stared at Xiao Yan without blinking. There was some shock in her tone as she articulated each word with a pause between them, ancient phoenix essence blood. Xiao Yan's heart jumped when he heard this. However, his face did not reveal any changes. His tone was calm when he asked, "What do you mean? Hand over that thing from earlier." Feng Qing'er's pretty eyes were searing hot as they stared at Xiao Yan. Her cold laugh was not hidden. Instead, it spread over the entire stadium. "You are really very bold. You dare to lay your hands on something that belongs to my Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Although the Falling Star Pavilion cannot compare with the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe, it is not something that can be bullied by others as they wish. This venerable self, Do Zun, has also met with some of the old fellows in the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. You wish to search someone else's storage ring with just your words alone. It is likely that no one will be able to simply endure this." Feng Zunja's expression sank as he spoke. Feng Qing'er did not dare to say anything to contradict Feng Zunja once he spoke. Do Zun was considered a peak expert even within their Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Moreover, there was the Falling Star Pavilion behind him. However, if she was unwilling to just simply step back. The ancient phoenix essence blood was of great use to the Demon Phoenix tribe. If she could obtain it, her bloodline strength would definitely become much stronger. Hence, Feng Qing'er clenched her teeth and said in a deep voice, "It is fine if you do not allow Qing'er to search his storage ring. However, I must use a kind of searching skill according to the rules of my clan. If it still yields no results, I can apologize for my actions." Feng Zunja appeared startled when he heard this. He hesitated a little in his heart as he turned his head to Xiao Yan. He was also aware of some of the rules of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Feng Qing'er's request was reasonable. However, he was a little worried that Xiao Yan possessed whatever ancient phoenix essence blood with him as Feng Qing'er had claimed. At that time, it would likely alarm the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe if it was really found. Things would become a little troublesome then. Xiao Yang also sensed Feng Zunja's eyes. His eyes flickered when he did so. This searching skill will only react to the ancient phoenix essence blood. What is there to be worried about if I have wronged you? Feng Qing'er coldly laughed when she saw that Xiao Yang had remained quiet. Xiao Yang glanced at her faintly. The glint in his eyes gradually disappeared. The corner of his mouth was lifted into a cold smile. He nodded unexpectedly and said, "All right. I shall allow you to use your searching skill." The corner of Xiao Yang's mouth was lifted into an unusual smile. He softly said, "If you fail to find anything, Miss Feng might have to apologize to me in public." Feng Qing'er's eyes were ice cold. She let out a cold snort as she bit her finger. A droplet of bright red blood fell from it and was immediately suspended in front of her. It vaguely emitted a strange glow in the process. Xiao Yang glanced at this droplet of blood. The blood was crimson in color, but if one were to carefully observe it, one would be able to see an extremely faint green color in it. Xiao Yang thought deeply when he saw this scene. The blood of the mysterious dried corpse was clearly a lot denser than Feng Qing'er's blood. From the looks of it, the blood of that mysterious dried corpse was definitely purer than Feng Qing'er's blood. Feng Qing'er's face was frosty. Her finger led the droplet of blood to form a mysterious seal. With a toss of her hand, the seal paused above Xiao Yang's head. A circular red-colored luster was emitted from it as it slowly wrapped around Xiao Yang's body. Xiao Yang clearly sensed an unusual energy when his body was covered by the red-colored light barrier. It was slowly scanning his body, and he vaguely felt as though someone was snooping around. Xiao Yang's face was completely impassive through this. However, he was laughing coldly in his heart. For him to be bold enough to allow Feng Qing'er to search him in public, it was only natural that he was confident that he could hide the ancient phoenix essence blood. The red-colored glow slowly spread through Xiao Yang's body. It specifically scanned the ring on his hand multiple times, but not even the hint of an unusual phenomenon appeared. This caused Feng Qing'er's face to appear uglier. Feng Zunja by the side sighed in relief within his heart when he saw Feng Qing'er's expression. The search continued for some time, before the red glow finally began to disappear. The seal had also transformed into a red ray of light that was absorbed into the green-faced Feng Qing'er's body. "Miss Feng, has there been any results?" Xiao Yang glanced at Feng Qing'er as he inquired, "Where have you hidden the ancient phoenix essence blood?" Feng Qing'er clenched her silver teeth. Her appearance was as though she desperately wanted to pounce over and strip Xiao Yang, conducting a complete search over him. She had clearly sensed the existence of the ancient phoenix essence blood earlier. However, the result of her search had caused her to suffer a great blow. Her searching skill was extremely sensitive to the ancient phoenix essence blood. Seldom was there any situation where it would be wrong. The expression of Feng Zunja by the side sank. He cried out in a cold voice, "Feng Qing'er, don't think that this venerable self, Dozun, cannot do anything to you just because you are a member of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. If you continue to stir trouble, do not blame this venerable self, Dozun, for not giving the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe any face." Feng Qing'er's pretty face changed a little when she heard Feng Zunja cold cry. Lei Zunja by the side could only step forward when he saw this. "Qing'er, the matter today might be just a misunderstanding." Lei Zunja's expression became slightly warmer when he heard Feng Zunja's words. Jian Zunja and Huang Quan Zunja could only nod their heads after a brief moment of hesitation. Tang Ying was definitely no match for Feng Qing'er. Wang Chen, on the other hand, had already been crippled by Xiao Yang from the start. How could he fight with others? Cuckoo, since the grand meeting is over, the old me shall not stay any longer. I will come and visit if I have time in the future, Feng Zunja laughed. He cupped his hands to Lei Zunja. After which, he waved his hand and a wild wind rose around him. Immediately, the wind affinity energy around them began to automatically gather. Finally, it formed an enormous wind eagle in front of an innumerable number of eyes. "Let's go," Feng Zunja beckoned with his hand. His body moved and he leaped onto the enormous eagle. Mu Qingluan followed closely behind. After beckoning Lin Yang, who was a short distance away, to follow, he leaped onto the large eagle. Feng Zunja placed both of his hands behind him after seeing that the few of them had leaped onto the large eagle. He stood on the head of the eagle while it flapped its wings. After which, it brought about a strong wind as it cut through the air with a swoosh sound, flying away from the Wind Lightning Mountain range. Within a couple of flashes, it completely disappeared from the focus of a countless number of gazes. Jian Zunja and Huang Quan Zunja bid Lei Zunja goodbye after watching the enormous eagle disappear. Finally, they grabbed their disciples and swiftly left the lightning mountain. After Jian Zunja left, only the people from the Wind Lightning Pavilion were left behind. Only at this moment did Lei Zunja's expression completely become gloomy. His eyes turned to Feng Qing'er as he asked, "Did you really sense the ancient phoenix essence blood earlier?" "I am definitely right. However, I am also unaware of why I am unable to find it." Feng Qing'er nodded and spoke with absolute certainty. Lei Zunja slightly nodded. He immediately spoke in a sinister manner, "You should return and report this matter to the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. At that time, the experts in your clan will definitely intervene and capture Xiao Yan. If the people from the Falling Star Pavilion stop them, it should not be difficult for the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe to finish them off given its strength." Feng Qing'er hesitated for a moment when she heard this. Finally, she clenched her silver teeth and nodded. "Since you refuse to cripple your 3,000 lightning movement yourself, I shall cause you to be unable to use any other Do skills in the future." A cold expression surfaced on Lei Zunja's face. His soft mumbling was filled with a killing intent that caused those few people around to tremble. Fierce wind suddenly rose in the serene blue sky. An enormous eagle carried a lightning storm as it flew. On the back of the eagle sat a couple of figures. Xiao Yan was among them. At this moment, Xiao Yan was seated cross-legged on the back of the eagle. His gaze looked in the direction of the lightning mountain and found that it had disappeared. His tensed heart finally relaxed. Immediately, he clenched his teeth and a jade-green flame was fiercely burning on his hand. "What is it?" Feng Zunja's figure instantly appeared beside Xiao Yang as he asked in surprise. Xiao Yang did not reply. His eyes were staring intently at the burning flame in his hand. Droplets of green-red blood were mixed in the rising flame. This blood, that contained a shocking energy ripple, was slowly being forced out. Feng Zunja, Mu Qingluan, and Lin Yang revealed a shocked expression when they saw this. Xiao Yang had hidden this thing in the heavenly flame earlier. No wonder it was not detected. Mu Qingluan and Lin Yang nodded when they heard these words. They clearly understood just what kind of trouble it would bring Xiao Yang if this matter were to spread. The ancient phoenix essence blood has already been forced out by Xiao Yang. Why is it that his expression, Lin Yang's eyes swept over Xiao Yang's face as he suddenly asked with some hesitation. Feng Zunja and Mu Qingluan also threw their eyes toward Xiao Yang when they heard this. They did indeed see that his face was blood-red in color. His body's temperature was also frighteningly hot. There was a bitter expression between his brows. It was as though he was resisting something. There is more than just these 3 drops of ancient phoenix essence blood. The remainder should still be in his body. However, it seems that he cannot force them out. Feng Zunja's sharp eyes swiftly sensed the problem, and he explained it in a deep voice. "What should we do?" Lin Yang became anxiously as he hurriedly asked. "The interior of the ancient phoenix essence blood contains the strength of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe's bloodline. It is impossible for an ordinary person to absorb it. After all, the constitution of a human is far inferior to that of a Heaven Demon Phoenix. If one forcefully absorbs it, it is likely that one might end up bursting apart. The only thing that we can do now is to help force out the remaining ancient phoenix essence blood within his body." Mu Qingluan spoke with a bitter smile. "There is no way to force it out. Earlier, Xiao Yang hid the ancient phoenix essence blood inside the heavenly flame to avoid Feng Qing'er's search. However, the heavenly flame's temperature is extremely high. It has caused some of the ancient phoenix essence blood's energy to spread. Now, it has basically spread all over his body. It is already impossible to completely force it out." Feng Zunja shook his head as he revealed another problem. Mu Qingluan spread her hands when she heard this. She was helpless if this was the case. "Let's take a look at the situation first," Feng Zunja voiced his thoughts. If he were to randomly intervene in the matter now, it was likely that he would only add to the problem. Hence, it was best to first see if Xiao Yang could rely on his own strength to force this ancient phoenix essence blood out of his body. While the 3 of them were conversing, Xiao Yang's skin was becoming boiling hot. Its color had also turned blood red. At a glance, he appeared just like a frightening blood person. Of course, Xiao Yang's outer appearance was not the only one affected. At this moment, the interior of Xiao Yang's body was in complete chaos. Green-red energy was just like wild, galloping horses that crazily rocketed through the interior of his body. The crazy violence that was contained within it caused the interior of Xiao Yang's body to repeatedly emit waves after waves of intense throbbing pain. Damn it! Xiao Yang's mind tried its best to suppress the uprising within his body as he quietly cursed. Originally, he had refined 5 droplets of green-red blood from the magical beast dried corpse. After using 1 droplet, when refining a medicinal pill in the inner academy, he only had 4 droplets remaining. He had forced out 3 droplets earlier. In other words, there was still 1 droplet of green-red blood remaining in his body. The main culprit of turning his body into such chaos was this drop of damn green-red blood. The green-red blood had completely split apart when it was in the heavenly flame earlier. After which, it transformed into numerous violent energies that spread apart and randomly charged about within Xiao Yang's body. I don't believe that I am unable to subdue you after having managed to refine you. Xiao Yang viciously grit his teeth as he studied the chaotic situation within his body. A thought passed through his mind and spiritual strength surged from between his brows. After which, it wildly invaded his body and forcefully chased the scattered energy in a certain direction. Simply waiting for the wild energy to scatter more would only cause his internal injuries to become more and more serious. Hence, he needed to gather the scattered energy together and completely finish them off in a clean sweep. This ancient phoenix essence blood is indeed a great spiritual medicine for raising the strength of one's body. However, it is likely that the effect would have been even better if it had been used to refine a medicinal pill. Xiao Yang let out a quiet sigh within his heart as he sensed the change in his body. Immediately, he felt somewhat regretful. Of course, this kind of regret naturally disappeared immediately after it appeared. The current Xiao Yang also understood that it was indeed not easy to absorb such ancient phoenix essence blood. If he didn't possess the glazed lotus heart flame, it was likely that the interior of his body would have turned into a mess because of the ancient phoenix essence blood. Due to the repeated refinement of the glazed lotus heart flame, green-red fog repeatedly seeped out of the top of the fire cauldron. This momentum showed signs of it gradually becoming denser. When this green-red fog repeatedly penetrated into Xiao Yang's body, the feeling of his physical body becoming stronger also became more and more obvious. Xiao Yang had an illusion that if he had sufficient ancient phoenix essence blood, his body would likely become as strong as that of a heaven demon phoenix. Of course, the precondition to this was that he was able to endure the continuous strengthening. The ancient phoenix essence blood was really a little too violent for a human. If he was careless, his body might explode because of his strength being raised too much. Body explosion. Xiao Yang suddenly trembled when he thought of this. He instantly recovered from the joy of having his physical body being strengthened. This kind of green-red fog did indeed possess an exceptionally great effect when it came to strengthening one's body. However, if one were to absorb too much of it, it would likely become a disaster. Xiao Yang's mind entered the fire cauldron. At this moment, there were still 2/3 left of the green-red energy cluster. Just 1/3 made Xiao Yang feel like his body wouldn't be able to endure. If the remainder was completely absorbed by his body, it was likely that his body would really explode. Xiao Yang's heart felt a chill when he thought of this. However, if he did not completely refine this ancient phoenix essence blood in this situation, it would randomly dart around his body. The harm it would cause would also be quite great, yet if he continued the refinement, his body would be unable to endure such wild, violent energy at his current strength. At this moment, Xiao Yang had undoubtedly entered a dilemma. While Xiao Yang was hesitating, the refinement within the fire cauldron did not come to a stop. Wave after wave of green-red fog curled and rose up, covering every inch of Xiao Yang's body in that fog. Xiao Yang mournfully discovered that his body was gradually beginning to be unable to absorb any more while the green-red fog permeated it. However, the green-red fog could not be bothered with all this. It still continuously invaded Xiao Yang's body. Xiao Yang's body gradually began to show signs of a swelling pain following the repeated entry of the green-red fog. Xiao Yang softly sighed as he sensed the vague pain that appeared in his swollen muscles. Damn it! I have overdone it this time around. Feng Zunja and Mu Qingluan quickly turned their eyes to Xiao Yang when they heard his voice. They could see that Xiao Yang's body was vaguely showing signs of swelling. It is really the case of what I said coming true. Mu Qingluan bitterly laughed when she saw this scene. She sighed. Xiao Yang's body is unable to absorb so much ancient phoenix essence blood. This is the forewarning of the explosion of one's body. Feng Zunja's expression changed slightly. He stepped forward and appeared beside Xiao Yang's body. His hand was extended, but it was hurriedly stopped by Mu Qingluan by the side. Currently, the interior of Xiao Yang's body is in a full state. If any other energy is inserted, it is likely that his body will immediately burst apart. Feng Zunja intently frowned. He said in a deep voice, if this continues, he will sooner or later end up dying from his body bursting apart, because of that ancient phoenix essence blood. Mu Qingluan bitterly laughed as she said, no one knows if he has any other tactics. If we were to randomly intervene, it is likely that we will make matters worse. Feng Zunja hesitated for a moment upon hearing this. All he could do, however, was to withdraw his hand. He looked at Xiao Yang's swelling body, clenched his teeth, and said, if he still doesn't have any solution after some time, I can only intervene. Only the people from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribes possess the ability to completely absorb the bloodline strength within the ancient phoenix essence blood. If they absorb it, they will be able to cause every part of their body or their bloodline to become even purer. However, if a human were to absorb it, the process will be filled with danger. I don't know if I should say that this fellow is too bold or ignorant, Mu Qingluan nodded. Her eyes looked at Xiao Yang, who was continuing to swell, as she muttered to herself. The fierce wind eagle flapped its enormous wings, circling in the sky. The surrounding wild gale separated a great distance away, causing a quiet space to appear on the back of the enormous eagle. Feng Zunja and the two others were all focused on Xiao Yang's swelling body. In less than 10 breaths' time, Xiao Yang had actually transformed into a large fat person. The flesh all over his body appeared, just like a balloon with air being blown in it as it bulged out. While Xiao Yang's body was swelling in this manner, a painful expression had also covered his face. However, he had clenched his teeth and endured it. Feng Zunja's eyes stared intently at Xiao Yang's swollen body. His fingers had already slowly curled involuntarily under his sleeves. Wave after wave of spiraling wind, that emitted some sharpness, appeared. Feng Zunja and the two others were a little stunned when they saw the enormous bone wings on Xiao Yang's back, especially when they heard the sound made from its flapping. The shock on their faces became even denser. This is Heaven Demon Phoenix Wings. Mu Qingluan's eyes stared at the pair of bone wings on Xiao Yang's back. A moment later, she finally inhaled a breath of cold air as she uttered those words, yes, you should be right. Back then, I also saw some of the old demons from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe using them. Although this pair of wings belonging to Xiao Yang does not have any phoenix feathers, the scent on it is similar to that of the Heaven Demon Phoenix wings. Feng Zunja slowly nodded. Even with his mental strength, his face involuntarily revealed some shock upon seeing that Xiao Yang possessed a pair of Heaven Demon Phoenix wings. This fellow, don't tell me he killed a member of the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. Otherwise, how is it possible for him to possess the ancient phoenix essence blood and this pair of Heaven Demon Phoenix wings? If the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe becomes aware of this, it is likely that they will dispatch experts to kill Xiao Yang. Mu Qingluan gradually withdrew the shock on her face as she muttered. Only now did she feel that this disciple of her teacher's old friend, who had suddenly appeared, was very mysterious. Feng Zunja slightly nodded his head. He also found things to be a little troublesome. This little fellow was indeed quite bold. Even Yao Chen and him would have thought twice before touching someone from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. It was unexpected that this little fellow had not only removed the essence blood, but had even created these bone wings. Xiao Yang's tightly shut eyes twitched while the two of them were speaking. Soon after, Xiao Yang slowly opened them and saw Feng Zunja's group who were looking at him. He bitterly laughed, I'm sorry. I did not expect things to end up like this, are you all right? Feng Zunja shook his head and asked. Xiao Yang stood up and clenched his fist. A torrent-like, overwhelming strength immediately surged through his limbs and bones. This kind of comfortable feeling of caused Xiao Yang to involuntarily let out a howl to the sky. The howl rumbled. There was a vague dragon roar and phoenix cry within it that shook one's heart. Phoenix cry. Dragon roar. Feng Zunja's heart immediately trembled when he heard this howl. His eyes were somewhat strange as he looked to Xiao Yang. He said, Phoenix cry and dragon roar. These are top sonic waves in the world. If used together with a sonic wave do technique, their strength will be extremely great. Unexpectedly, you possess both together. Xiao Yang was similarly startled. That little dragon's roar had originated from the yin-yang mysterious dragon pill back then. As for this phoenix cry, could it be because of that ancient phoenix essence blood? You should hide these Heaven Demon Phoenix wings first. Try your best to avoid using them in the future. Otherwise, should the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe discover them, you will likely be faced with great trouble, Feng Zunja reminded. Mu Qingluan by the side raised her ears when she heard Feng Zunja's words. She was also very curious about Xiao Yang's background. Although Feng Zunja had many friends, she didn't know of a friend whom he would be so concerned about after all these years. Xiao Yang tightly clenched his fist. A fierce glint vaguely appeared in his eyes. A moment later he suppressed the fluctuating emotion within his heart. He inhaled a deep breath of air as he slowly said, "Old Feng should also be aware of the matter about teacher back then, right? He was not with me when something happened to him. By the time I discovered something amiss, Han Feng had already announced to the public that the old fellow had suffered a backlash when he was refining a pill and ended up self-destructing. I will naturally never believe such words, and I interrogated Han Feng quite a number of times about this. However, this fellow is extremely cunning, and I failed to learn anything through my questioning." After this continued a couple of times, he also disappeared from the Central Plains region. Only at that time did I vaguely sense the disappearance of that old fellow was related to him. However, I am unable to find any information about Han Feng after searching the Central Plains for so many years. Feng Zunja's eyes stared intently at Xiao Yang as he spoke with a deep voice. Xiao Yang sighed softly and whispered, "Teacher was indeed harmed by Han Feng back then, boom." Feng Zunja's expression almost instantly turned dark, chilly when Xiao Yang's words sounded. A dense killing intent surged out of his body, causing the temperature of this place to significantly drop. This bastard, Yao Chen, had raised him after he was abandoned as a baby and had taught him all that he knew, yet he dared to betray his teacher. Has his conscience really been eaten by a dog? Back then, the old me should have killed this bastard with a slap. A fury surged onto Feng Zunja's face as he cried out. Mu Qingluan cowered her neck when she saw Feng Zunja this furious. Feng Zunja was usually light and carefree. Seldom would he lose himself in such a manner. Yao Chen. Could he be that life and death good friend of teacher, the pavilion chief of the Falling Star Pavilion that has never shown himself, Yao Chen, Yao Zunja? Mu Qingluan muttered this name in her mouth, before she immediately seemed to have recalled something. Her pretty eyes were stunned as she looked at Xiao Yang and involuntarily cried out, "Pavilion chief?" Xiao Yang was startled when he heard this. He was unaware that Yao Lao had been pavilion chief. The Falling Star Pavilion was founded by Yao Chen and me back then. However, he doesn't like these matters and the place was more or less managed by me. Although he has been missing during these years, the position of pavilion chief still remains, because I know that with the old fellow's ability, he would not die so easily. Feng Zunja waved his hand as he explained. Xiao Yang slightly nodded. It was unexpected that teacher would be the pavilion chief of the Falling Star Pavilion in name. In that case, was he not considered a member of the Falling Star Pavilion? Let's not talk about this for now. Once I return, I will issue a wanted order. I think that the bastard Han Feng is still alive. If he lands in my hands, I will definitely let him suffer a fate where he cannot even beg to die. Feng Zunja spoke in a dark manner. It seemed that Han Feng had completely infuriated him. If it's a wanted order, there is probably no need. Xiao Yang shook his head. He flicked his finger and a jade bottle appeared from his storage ring. His finger rubbed over the mouth of the bottle as an illusionary spiritual body was hurriedly released. Xiao Yang, just what will it take for you to let me off? Han Feng's soul roared in a flustered and exasperated manner after escaping the bottle. However, his roar had yet to finish when it came to a sudden halt. A frightened expression that was difficult to hide appeared on his face. Han Feng. Feng Zunja's eyes were dense as he looked at Han Feng's soul in front of him. Two words that contained a chilly killing intent were slowly emitted between his teeth. Feng Zunja. Han Feng's eyes were dull as he looked at Feng Zunja in front of him. An instant later, he immediately let out a shocked scream and hurriedly turned to flee. Feng Zunja's eyes were ice cold. His fingers were curled into claws as he sucked at Han Feng. A frightening suction forcefully pulled Han Feng back. After which, it grabbed Han Feng's neck like an eagle claw would grab a small animal. That usually benign-looking, old face had become unusually frightening at this moment. Bastard, you dared attack your teacher. If not for Yao Chen, you would have been swallowed by a wild stray. Beast, you aren't even worthy of being a pig or a dog. Han Feng finally became afraid as he looked at Feng Zunja's eyes, which contained a dense killing intent that caused one to freeze over. He was also a little afraid of Feng Zunja in his heart. Immediately, he hurriedly cried out, "Don't kill me. This has nothing to do with me. I was also forced by those people from the Hall of Souls." Hall of Souls? Feng Zunja's expression changed when he heard this name. Old Feng, the Hall of Souls seemed to be after teacher's spiritual strength. Now, teacher has already fallen into their hands. Xiao Yan spoke in a low and deep voice. It is really related to those bastards. Feng Zunja grit his teeth as he yelled. During his investigations over these years, he had also vaguely discovered something about the Hall of Souls. However, he had not expected the ones who had struck at Yao Chen back to be these fellows, who lingered around without disappearing. Old Feng, wait. We still need Han Feng to guide us in order for us to find the branch hall where Yao Lao is being imprisoned. It is not the right time to kill him. Xiao Yang hurriedly spoke. When he saw this situation, it is likely that the Hall of Souls does not only want the old fellow's soul. Perhaps, they attach a greater value on his ability to refine pills. Back then, I became vaguely aware that the Hall of Souls seemed to be quietly acting on a grand plan. This plan required quite a number of outstanding alchemists. During that big fight at the ancient mansion, which had turned the entire Central Plains into an uproar, Yao Chen and I had exchanged blows with the Hall of Souls. It is likely that he had caught their eye at that time. Feng Zunja nodded, mused for a moment, and suddenly made a guess. Ancient mansion. Xiao Yang was stunned when he heard this. It is already an extremely old story. That mansion was passed down from the ancient times. Back then, it attracted over half of the experts of the Central Plains, who were at the Do Zone class and above. However, the treasures inside were indeed shocking. The Qi method you practice now was obtained by Yao Chen from that place back then. Feng Zunja sighed. Xiao Yang was once again startled. He involuntarily inhaled a gentle breath. Flame mantra was actually something that was obtained from that ancient mansion. Where is that old fellow being imprisoned right now? Feng Zunja glanced icily at Han Feng before demanding, the western regions of the Central Plains underworld city. There is a branch hall of the Hall of Souls there. Yao Chen is being imprisoned there. Han Feng hesitated for a moment before speaking. Underworld city her. It is unexpected that there is a branch hall of the Hall of Souls there. Feng Zunja frowned and asked once again. How many honorable elders, Do Zun, are there in that branch? 1. Han Feng's eyes quietly flickered as he softly replied, do you really think that this venerable self, Do Zun, does not have any understanding of the Hall of Souls? Feng Zunja laughed coldly when he heard this. A branch of the Hall of Souls would at least have a chief and a deputy regardless of how low level it is. They are at the honorable elder level. Moreover, that place is one where someone as important as Yao Chen is imprisoned. One honorable elder. Looks like your evil thoughts have yet to be extinguished. Han Feng's body trembled slightly when he heard Feng Zunja's words. The expression of Xiao Yang by the side had also slowly turned dark and solemn. Damn it. He had nearly been tricked by this bastard. 2 honorable elders, this was not a matter of summing 2 up. A lineup consisting of 2 Do Zun class experts would have the ability to even wash some top-tier factions in the Central Plains in blood. If he had not found Feng Zunja and ended up foolishly leading people to Underworld City, it was likely that he would have fallen into their hands. Store him away. He might be useful in the future. Feng Zunja's eyes were dense as he glanced at Han Feng, who was involuntarily trembling. However, he simply laughed and tossed Han Feng to Xiao Yang. Xiao Yang nodded his head with a cold smile after receiving Han Feng's soul. He stuffed him back into the jade bottle. With a random flick of his finger, a wisp of invisible flame rushed in, and a sharp miserable cry once again sounded. Xiao Yang's finger rubbed the mouth of the bottle and isolated the miserable cry. After which, he returned it to his storage ring. He would wait and see if this fellow could survive being burned by the fallen heart flame. When dealing with such scum, he would not allow them to peacefully die. Old Feng, what should we do now? Xiao Yang hesitated for a moment and asked. Xiao Yang hesitated for a moment after hearing this, but he could only nod his head. The Hall of Souls was too powerful. They really could not afford to alert them. I will return to the Falling Star Pavilion next. After which, I will begin investigating the Hall of Souls. What about you? Feng Zunja's eyes looked at Xiao Yang as he asked. Xiao Yang mused for a moment before saying, I wish to head to the middle regions of the Central Plains region. There is still a year or so left until the Pill Tower's pill gathering. I wish to participate, the pill gathering her. Feng Zunja was startled when he heard this. He immediately smiled and said, this is also not bad. Back then, That old fellow Yao Chen managed to get a champion spot in that pill gathering. He was really glorious. Being his disciple, you must naturally not diminish his reputation. Moreover, according to what I know, the top 10 in this pill gathering appear to be able to obtain the right to subdue the 3,000 burning flames. Perhaps this possesses a fatal attraction to you. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.